The tires whispered against the snow, a soft, broken rhythm swallowed by the howling wind. Headlights cut a narrow path through the frozen trees, illuminating nothing but drifting snow and skeletal branches. Far ahead, a figure stood at the side of the road, half buried in white. It raised a hand. Or was it reaching for something else? A scream echoed through the forest, sharp and ragged, bouncing from tree to tree, then swallowed by the storm. The car shivered as the tires hit a patch of black ice. Breath fogged the windshield. He blinked, and the figure was gone. Radio static hissed, then a voice, faint and hollow, whispered, "You shouldn't be here. Not tonight." The road twisted ahead, unfamiliar, stretching impossibly long. Tire tracks appeared beside him, fresh, but leading off the asphalt into the snow, where no one could have walked. His chest tightened. Something was moving in the tree line, just beyond sight. Shadows stretched and shifted with the wind, shapes that were almost human. The headlights flickered. And then, just for a moment, he saw it, a reflection in the ice, standing behind the snowbank, eyes fixed on him. He swerved, heart pounding, and the car skidded. A sudden crack split the silence. Somewhere in the storm, a bell rang, slow, deliberate, wrong. He froze. The road behind him had vanished. And in the distance, a cabin door swung open. The cabin loomed like a frozen sentinel, half buried in drifts, smoke curling lazily from the crooked chimney. Its windows were dark, opaque with frost, reflecting nothing but the endless white of the snowfield. He slowed the car, tires crunching over hardened snow, and swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed that he should turn back, but the road had vanished behind him, erased by the storm, leaving only an unbroken wall of white. He stepped out, boots sinking into the powder. The wind tore at his jacket, pinching his skin raw. The forest around him was silent in a way that felt deliberate, like it was holding its breath. The scream from earlier had faded into memory, but the echo of it lingered in his chest, a hollow rhythm that matched his pulse. Something moved just beyond the tree line. He froze. A branch snapped, or was it a footstep? He strained his eyes, but the snowstorm turned everything into blur and shadow. The cabin door creaked, shifting slightly, though no wind strong enough to move the heavy which should have reached it. A voice cracked through the static of his radio. "Leave, before it finds you." He jumped, fumbling for the device, but it was dead, just static now. He was alone. Truly alone. Even the snow seemed to weigh down around him, muffling sound, swallowing life. The first step toward the cabin made the snow groan underfoot. He noticed footprints beside his own. Deep, uneven, human but impossibly large. He hadn't seen anyone, hadn't passed another car or hiker, but the tracks were fresh, leading straight to the door. He hesitated at the threshold. Frost patterned the glass in jagged veins, like veins beneath pale skin. He reached out, wiping a patch clear with the back of his sleeve, and caught a glimpse of movement inside. A shadow stretching across the floor, dissolving when he blinked. "Hello." His voice cracked, swallowed almost immediately by the storm. No reply. Only the wind, scratching at the walls, whispering in words he almost understood. Almost. He stepped inside. The air smelled of damp wood, cold stone, and something else. Something metallic, coppery, faintly sweet. Footprints, not his own, led deeper into the cabin, disappearing around a corner. Every instinct screamed to run, but his feet moved of their own accord. A photograph lay on the floor, edges curling with age. A family, smiling, oblivious, framed in front of snow-dusted trees. One figure in the back, blurred, smudged, as if it had been erased, or worse, never existed. His stomach churned. From upstairs came a sound, a slow, deliberate tap. Tap, tap, tap. The rhythm matched a heartbeat. He climbed cautiously, the stairs groaning under his weight. Each step echoed too loud in the confined space, bouncing back at him like mocking laughter. At the top, the hallway stretched, narrow and dark. Frosted windows cast pale rectangles across the floor, shifting with the sway of the wind outside. Doors lined the walls, closed, but not locked. One door at the end was slightly ajar. A thin light flickered from inside, though no fireplace burned, no lamp glowed. He approached, hand trembling. Inside, the room was empty, or nearly. The bed was made, neat as if someone had just left. On the pillow lay a single object, a small snow-dusted ornament. Red, chipped, familiar. He reached for it. A whisper curled in the corners of the room, soft but urgent. "Don't touch it." He froze, fingers brushing the cold porcelain. The snow outside thickened, pressing against the windows like a living thing. And then, behind him, the door slammed shut. Hard. Wood splintered. A shadow stretched across the room, impossibly tall, moving faster than human. The wind howled louder, carrying a sound unmistakable. Laughter. High-pitched. Children's laughter. But wrong. Distorted. Echoing. Layered. He spun toward the window. Tracks appeared in the snow outside. Smaller footprints, running toward the cabin, stopping suddenly as if the owner vanished into thin air. He wasn't alone. Not anymore. And from the corner of the room where the shadow lingered, came a voice, soft, deliberate, a breath against his ear. "You came anyway." The shadow in the corner did not move as he expected. It lingered, stretching impossibly along the walls, bending around corners, flickering with the light of the snow outside. He backed away, heart hammering, but the room seemed to expand, elongate, twisting the angles until the door he had entered through was gone, or perhaps it had never been there. Every instinct screamed that he was no longer in a cabin but in something alive, something that existed between snow and shadow, waiting for him to understand. He stumbled to the nearest window, pressing his palms against the icy glass. The snow outside roared, white and endless, a storm that was no longer natural. Footprints led to the cabin, yes, but there were others, smaller, lighter, impossibly fast, weaving among the trees, stopping suddenly and vanishing into nothing. He spun around. The room was empty. Or so it seemed. From the stairwell a creak. A whisper. "You shouldn't be here." He froze. A man's voice, old and brittle, like a branch snapping in the wind. "Who's there?" he demanded, but the sound of his own voice frightened him more than the whisper. The echo did not return from the walls. It came from somewhere behind him, low and deliberate. There was a photograph on the wall that had not been there moments ago. A family smiling in front of a snow-covered cabin. Faces too familiar, like memories he did not own, and one figure at the back blurred into nothing, or someone erased. His stomach turned. The wind pushed against the cabin with sudden force, rattling the windows. He spun as a floorboard groaned behind him. Footsteps. Not his own. Closer. Stop. A pause. The faint smell of smoke or iron filled the air. He ran toward the door he thought led outside. It slammed shut with a crack that splintered the silence. Heart racing, he turned back. The shadow was closer now, stretching toward him. Not human. Not entirely. It had the shape of something human once, but the angles were wrong. Limbs too long, neck bent at impossible angles, and a head that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. His mind scrambled for logic. Perhaps it was hypothermia. The snowstorm, the isolation, the cold. It was playing tricks. But then the radio sparked, static flaring into a voice. "Turn back, they've been waiting." "Who? What?" he demanded. Only static followed. The hallway seemed endless. Each door he passed whispered secrets he could almost understand. Snatches of conversations, warnings, names. Voices of travelers who had disappeared before him. One room emitted sobbing, quiet, but inside it was empty. Only snow had drifted across the floor, impossibly, from outside, like the storm had reached in to watch. He found a journal on a table. Yellowed, brittle. The handwriting was old, slanting, familiar. The road knows. It remembers every traveler. Every footstep leaves a mark. The snow does not cover them, it collects them. They wait. The words made no sense, yet his fingers trembled as he traced them. Every instinct told him to leave, but he was trapped in the storm, trapped in the cabin that had ceased to be a cabin. A door creaked upstairs. A child's laughter. Wrong. Distorted. Then footsteps. Running, stopping at the landing. A whisper, "He's here." He tried to move, but his legs refused. He was rooted to the spot, And for the first time, he noticed the walls. They were breathing, rising and falling with the wind outside. The snowstorm was no longer outside. It was inside. Snow drifted along the floorboards, curling around furniture, forming shapes. Faces. Grinning, twisted, snow faces staring at him. A memory struck, unbidden. Years ago, his uncle had warned him about the stretch of road he was on. Don't go alone. Not on Christmas. Not when it snows. He had laughed it off, thinking it was superstition. But now, every step he had taken seemed to lead him here, to this room, to these voices. The shadow moved. Closer. Closer still. He could feel the cold emanating from it, seeping into his bones, curling around his spine. The photograph on the wall changed. The family now smiled at him directly. Eyes black and empty. One figure at the back now grinned. Too wide, too sharp, and pointed. At him. He ran. Down the hallway, slipping over patches of ice that had formed inexplicably on the wood. Doors slammed on their own, locking in patterns that made no sense. He tried one locked. Another would not budge. His reflection appeared in a window. Not him. A shadowed, hollowed version, grinning, mouth moving when he did not. Voices layered over the storm now. A mother crying, a child laughing, a man whispering, "He comes for you." He fell to his knees, clutching the floorboards. Panic warped the walls, elongating, bending. The snow outside seemed to form shapes that mirrored the rooms inside. Footsteps outside, small and deliberate. He looked through the window, nothing. Yet the snow moved, forming patterns, symbols he knew he had seen in his dreams. He remembered another warning, this one from a stranded motorist months ago. The road keeps its own. It doesn't forgive. It doesn't forget. His hands shook as he climbed the stairs again, driven by a desperate need to escape or perhaps to confront what haunted him. Each step was met with resistance, as if the house itself fought him. Doors whispered as he passed. Windows breathed. And the shadow followed, never touching, always looming. At the top of the stairs, he found a small attic room, barely enough to stand. Inside, more photographs. Families, travelers, all smiling, all snowbound, all missing. One photograph lay face down, and he hesitated. Heart pounding, he turned it. It was him. Or a version of him, frozen mid-step on the snow-covered road. His eyes stared into his own, wide with fear. And behind him, footprints. Not his own. Leading straight to the forest. A sudden gust blew the door shut. A figure emerged from the shadows in the corner. Human shape. Distorted. Its voice rasped in his mind. "You've walked our road. You cannot leave." The attic seemed to stretch upward, ceilings vanishing, shadows falling from impossible angles. He ran to the window. The snowstorm beyond had cleared slightly, but the forest was wrong. Trees twisted, angles unnatural, trunks bending toward him. Footprints led through the snow, circling back toward the cabin. Every instinct screamed that leaving was futile. He heard whispers now, layered, overlapping. Travelers, victims, warnings. Turn back. He is here. Don't go. He wanted to scream, but no sound emerged. Only snow drifting through the cracks, only shadows crawling along the floorboards. The journal lay open on the table below. A new entry had appeared, written in ink that was not there moments ago. The road remembers. It always remembers. And tonight, it has chosen you. The attic door slammed open. The shadow lunged. He bolted, tumbling down the stairs. Footsteps chased him. Fast, deliberate, impossible. He reached the front door, pulled the handle. Locked. He pounded, screamed, slammed his shoulder. Behind him, the laughter of children, distorted and layered, filled the cabin. The storm outside began to thicken again. Faster. Heavier. Snow swept in through cracks, spiraling around him, shaping itself into figures that reached for him. His breath formed clouds in the icy air. Each exhale a whisper, a warning, a plea. The shadow stopped at the top of the stairs. And the voice whispered again, closer now, curling around his ear. You cannot leave. Not tonight. Not ever. He spun, eyes wide, and for the first time, the cabin seemed alive, aware, watching. The snow outside formed an impossible path leading nowhere, circling back to the cabin itself. The footprints, his own, now altered, moved forward in the snow, advancing without him. Panic clawed at his chest. The walls shivered. The floor groaned beneath his weight. He stumbled toward the staircase again, toward the attic that promised nothing but terror. The shadow followed, always following. And then he understood. The road outside, the cabin, the snowstorm, they were all one. A living maze, a memory, a trap. He had stepped onto a path that had claimed travelers before him, every Christmas, every snowstorm. And tonight it had chosen him. The attic seemed infinite now, stretching upward into darkness, shadows crawling along every surface. His hands scraped against warped wood as he stumbled, trying to escape, but the space had no bounds. The snowstorm outside had ceased, or perhaps it had never been outside at all. The storm was here, inside, in him, in the air he breathed. Every exhale carried ice and whispers, voices layered like the groan of 1,000 trapped travelers. He fell to the floor, pressing his palms against the cold boards. A whisper curled around him. "You cannot leave." The words were no longer just a warning. They were a promise. From the corner, the shadow emerged fully, no longer formless. Its shape was human enough to recognize, twisted enough to fear. Limbs bent where they should not, joints cracking like splintered wood. Its eyes, black pits, locked on him. And yet, he felt something worse. Familiarity. The shadow moved as he would, mirrored his steps, anticipated his breath. What are you?" he stammered. The shadow leaned forward, voice low and rasping, echoing in his mind. "I am the road, the storm, the snow that remembers. I am what claims those who wander." Every step he took to flee was met with distortion. Doors elongated, halls bent, walls breathing. The attic expanded, shrank, spun. The snow inside rose, shaping figures. Children frozen mid-laugh, travelers mid-step, faces twisted in terror, pointing, whispering. All of them watching him, waiting for the inevitable. He tried the window. Beyond it, the forest twisted impossibly, trees bending toward him like skeletal fingers. Footprints circled in the snow outside, never stopping, never fading. His own prints had joined them, yet they moved independently, as though he were already part of the pattern. From the hallway below came laughter. Not one voice, but dozens. Children, adults, travelers from the past, all distorted, overlapping, high-pitched and low, impossible to locate. He turned toward the stairs. The shadow waited, patient, coiled like a predator. He ran. Down the stairs, each step echoing like gunshots in the hollow cabin. Doors slammed on their own, hallways bent, and the snow rose higher, reaching toward him. He could see his breath now forming words in frost. Leave. Die. Remember. He shook his head, trying to clear the hallucinations. Voices spoke in his ears, fragments of the lost, pleading and warning. Turn back before it finds you. He's here. Don't go. He stumbled into the main room. The photograph wall had changed. Hundreds of faces stared at him now, all smiling, all frozen in terror. One image, the family from the first photograph, was now alive, or as alive as snowbound ghosts could be. Their mouths moved, whispering in unison. "You cannot leave." A metallic smell filled the air. He gagged, dizzy, clutching the nearest table. Snow began to drift through the cracks in the floor, piling at his feet, twisting into shapes. Limbs, heads, hands, reaching, clawing, pointing. The shadow advanced slowly, deliberately, each step cracking the boards beneath it. He screamed. The sound bounced off the walls, absorbed into the storm, returned to him as distorted echoes. He tried to slam a door behind him, trapping the thing, but the door bent inward as if the wood itself were liquid. He swung at the shadow. His hands passed through it, cold, wet, impossible. Its voice filled the room again, softer now, intimate, almost comforting. "It is too late. You belong to the road. We all belong to the road." Time began to distort. Clocks melted in his mind. The storm outside became a tunnel of snow and shadows, stretching endlessly. The footprints outside no longer led anywhere. They circled him, moved with him, anticipating him. He fell to his knees, crying out in despair. Behind him, the shadow spoke again. You cannot run. You cannot hide. Tonight is your road. The laughter intensified, layered, incomprehensible. Snow rose in a vortex around him, forming figures that reached for him, brushing against him, whispering his name. His vision blurred, pulse throbbing. Every instinct told him to escape, but there was no escape. Every door, every window, every wall now led him inward, toward the center of the storm. A memory flickered. His uncle, warning him years ago, trembling by the hearth. The road keeps its own. Christmas snow remembers. If you walk it alone, it will claim you. He had laughed once, then forgotten. Now the memory was as real as the cold seeping into his bones. He tried to scream again, but no sound emerged. Only the snow, only the shadows, only the storm inside the cabin and inside him. The shadow advanced fully now, merging with the snow figures, a mass of black and white, twisting, alive. Its eyes, empty, human, cruel, locked on him. You are mine, it whispered. The walls dissolved. The ceiling vanished. The cabin became nothing. Only the road, endless, snow-covered, lined with shadows of travelers who had come before him. Footprints led in circles, waiting, always waiting. He ran, but running changed nothing. Every step brought him back to the same point. Every breath returned to him as a whisper. Every heartbeat was mirrored by the shadow. He fell, face pressed to the cold snow. His hands touched footprints, his own distorted, leading to nowhere. The snow rose around him. Figures formed from the storm, faces of lost travelers pressing closer. Their voices layered. You cannot leave. You cannot leave. You cannot leave. The shadow leaned over him. Its form was now all he could see, towering, impossible. He tried to move, to scream, to fight, but the snow wrapped him, the storm consumed him, and the shadow spoke again, calm now, final. Some roads never let go. The wind howled in his ears. The snow spun in impossible patterns. And then, in the blink of an eye, everything went still. He opened his eyes, or perhaps it was the first time he had opened them. He was alone. The cabin gone. The road stretched endlessly, empty, snow-swept, pristine. No footprints. No trees. No signs of the storm. Only silence. He rose slowly, every muscle trembling. A distant sound caught him. Soft, almost imperceptible. A bell, tolling somewhere ahead. He froze. The air shifted. And in the distance, across the snow, a figure appeared. Small at first, then growing familiar. Smiling. Watching. Waiting. The road had chosen him. And tonight, like every Christmas before, it would remember. The snowstorm had passed. Or perhaps it had never truly existed outside his mind. The road stretched empty and pristine, pale under a sickly moon that hung low in the sky. No tire tracks, no footprints, only endless white, smooth and unbroken, swallowing the horizon. He walked slowly, each step crunching softly, a sound far too loud in the oppressive silence. The cabin was gone. The footprints of the travelers, the snow-formed figures, the shadow, all vanished. Yet the weight of their presence remained, pressing at the edges of his mind. His breath came in ragged clouds, each exhale a whisper of the storm that had devoured him. Somewhere inside he knew, it wasn't over. It would never be over. He stumbled to the side of the road, searching for anything familiar. A sign, a tree, a car. But the world had become unfamiliar, alien. Each shape seemed slightly off. The bend of a tree, the slope of a hill, the glint of moonlight on snow. His own shadow stretched and twisted beneath him, and he recoiled as though it might move independently. The road felt endless. Panic rose in his chest like a living thing. He tried to run, but his legs were leaden. Each step carried him forward, yet nowhere. The footprints behind him appeared, though he had made none, circling back toward the road he had traveled. He stopped, breathing hard. A figure appeared ahead. Small, distant, half hidden in a drift of snow. At first, it seemed human, a traveler perhaps, lost like him. Then it smiled. Wrong. Wrong in every way. The mouth stretched impossibly wide, eyes black and empty. He recognized it instantly. It was the shadow, or what remained of those claimed before him, twisted into a single mocking form. He stumbled backward. "You can't," he rasped. The figure advanced slowly, deliberate, each step bending the snow beneath it into impossible shapes. Voices echoed around him. Fragmented, layered, impossibly close. Travelers of the past, crying, laughing, whispering his name. "Welcome." Finally. "The road remembers." He tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed, replaced by wind and the rustle of snow. His hands pressed to his ears, his eyes squeezed shut, but the voices penetrated, inside him, under his skin, into his bones. Every thought became indistinct, tangled with memories that were not his own. A memory rose, vivid and cruel. The families from the photographs, smiling, frozen in snow, erased from life but preserved in the road's memory. Their faces now pressed against him in his mind. Their voices repeating in perfect unison. "You cannot leave." He fell to his knees, hands clawing at the snow. Panic and exhaustion tore at him, and yet the road stretched forward, relentless, infinite. He knew that no matter where he turned, no matter how fast he ran, he would return to this place. The road was alive, breathing, remembering every traveler it had claimed. And now it had claimed him. The sky darkened imperceptibly. A single bell tolled somewhere far off, slow and deliberate. He turned, searching, but the source was nowhere. The sound reverberated through the snow, through the frozen trees that bent unnaturally toward him, through the endless road itself. He staggered, vision swimming. A faint shape emerged ahead. Another cabin? No. Something smaller, humanoid, crouched low in the snow. He approached cautiously, heart hammering. The figure raised its head. Eyes black, grin impossibly wide. He stepped back. The snow shifted beneath it, forming footprints, his own. A whisper brushed against his ear. "Tonight, you belong." The air thickened. Time slowed. Every breath became a struggle, every heartbeat a drum in a silent world. He realized with absolute clarity. The road did not forgive. It did not forget. It was patient, eternal. And he had walked into its memory willingly. Or perhaps it had always been waiting. He ran, or thought he ran, but the snow beneath him remained static, unchanged. He turned again, seeking landmarks, trees, a way back. The footprints were always there, circling, following, leading nowhere. The shadow appeared again, taller now, fractured into multiple forms, all watching, all grinning. Desperation consumed him. He collapsed in the snow, eyes closing, praying, screaming silently into the void. Around him, the wind rose again, carrying voices, laughter, crying, layered, eternal. The snow rose, spiraling around him, forming figures of travelers from past Christmases. Children, men, women, all twisted in snow and shadow, reaching, whispering, waiting. They were endless, patient. And among them he saw faces he knew. Photographs, memories, shadows. All of them part of the road, preserved, consumed, claimed. A single thought struck him, terrible and clear. He would never leave. The snow covered him, silent, white, pure, suffocating. The road remembered him now. The storm had never been a storm. It had been a guardian, a memory, a claim. And he had become part of it. Morning came, or a pale imitation of it. The road lay empty, pristine. No footprints. No cabin. Only the snow, stretching endlessly. Travelers would come again, drawn by curiosity, by Christmas journeys, by the false promise of warmth and home. And the road would wait. Patient, eternal, unyielding. And somewhere, deep beneath the snow, the faintest echo of a voice whispered. Some roads never let go. The wind shifted. The snow shifted. And the road waited.